Ambassadors and dear guests, distinguished guests, we want to welcome you once again. We want to welcome you once again on behalf of the European Jewish Association. Later on, we will also hear from the European Jewish Community Center from Avi and Hama. We have the honor now of having with us the Vice President of the European Commission, His Excellency Margaritis Schinas, and also we have the honor of having with us the Vice President of the European Parliament, Her Excellency Nicola Beer. I'm going to ask first the Vice President of the Commission to please come and give us his speech. Thank you.
Careful with the wire. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is a great pleasure to be with you alongside with my colleague from the European Parliament, Nicolas, for my first Rosh Hashanah celebration since taking office. I want to thank your leaders and your community for the kind invitation. I hope that the new year will be full of joy, prosperity and good health. And I wish you all wholeheartedly Shana Tova. This year's festivities have been certainly special, unusual ones, in the context of a terrible pandemic which is still unfolding. And I'm thinking about all the families who couldn't be united for these dates due to travel and contact restrictions, and in particular members of the community who belong to vulnerable groups such as the older or sick people. Dear friends, the virus strikes us where it hurts us most, often depriving us of a moment of closeness with family and friends, and the Rosh Hashanah table, usually surrounded by young and old members of the family, generation through generation, bringing the collective memory together and passing it on, was clearly emptier this year. Nevertheless, my colleagues and I, the Commission, were inspired by how, once again, our Jewish communities have risen to this challenge to make sure that community life continues and that Rosh Hashanah remains a celebration of coming together in spirit, even often physically far apart, whether in Europe, in Israel, or elsewhere in the world. I would like to thank the European Jewish Association and the European Jewish Community Center for bringing us together today, as well as for your overall contribution to the community in these challenging times. I know your calendar of events is very rich, and I know that many Commission officials and colleagues are regularly your guests. Fostering these contacts, raising awareness, and celebrating Jewish life within our institutions are extremely important for me. When President von der Leyen, almost a year ago, entrusted me with the task of leading the European Union's effort to combat anti-Semitism, it was very clear to me that fostering Jewish life should be an integral part of this work. A Europe free of anti-Semitism means a Europe where Jewish people feel safe and free to lead their lives, work, study, practice, and celebrate their faith like every other member of our society. And that is why I'm particularly glad to address you on this day of joy. Rosh Hashanah is the traditional anniversary of the creation of Adam and Eve, and is an occasion to reflect over the previous year and make plans for the new one. During these first months of our mandate, I was particularly inspired by the richness and diversity of our Jewish communities throughout in Europe, be it Ashkenazi or Sephardi, Orthodox or Reform in Greece, my home country, or in Austria, or here in Brussels. Your communities are vibrant and a symbol of our European way of life. and I was struck by how closely the idea of European unity seems to have been internalized by Jewish communities already a long time ago. The European project, our European project, is built on the values of freedom and equality, respect of human rights, human dignity for every person. And this applies to all, regardless of identity, origin, or belief. These are our values, and these are the fundamentals of our European way of life. Any action by anybody that runs against these values constitutes a direct threat to this way of life. Anti-Semitism in Europe is unfortunately on the rise. While observing Yom Kippur this year, it would be impossible not to think of the dreadful, deadly attack at the Halle synagogue a year ago. This memory is a painful reminder of the need to step up our efforts to fight anti-Semitism at all levels. Anti-Semitism is not a Jewish problem. It is not a local problem. It is a European and a global issue. And I'm particularly grateful to the current German presidency of the European Union and my colleague, Minister Horst Seehofer, because they have made the protection of Jewish life an institutional priority under their presidency. By the end of the year, we will have a first group of EU countries finally adopting and presenting national strategies on combating anti-Semitism. And my ambition is to work towards a solid, cohesive framework at EU level to better support and coordinate these national efforts. Europe must remain a place where Jewish life continues to flourish and enrich our societies. And this obviously includes the protection of Jewish religious practices. Dear friends, the resilience and resourcefulness with which Europeans, including Jewish Europeans, have managed to navigate the past few difficult months, finding new ways to come together and to keep our societies and economies functioning, fills me with optimism. Optimism about charting a new, a better course in a post-pandemic world. Optimism also for a new Europe, apt to live up to the challenges of this new world. By working together, we can eliminate anti-Semitism and extremism in all its forms, strengthen security, and promote our shared prosperity with respect for each other's traditions and belief. And let me conclude with a very personal remark. Having police and army guarding the entrance of these premises may be necessary, but it should not be the norm. It should not happen. Not in the Europe we all cherish, not in the Europe we all believe in. No place of religion, worship, or assembly should be guarded by armed police. And I wish us all that we all see the day soon when this will not be longer the case. Wish you again, Shana Tova Umetuka. Thank you.